What is up, everyone? How's everyone doing? Sorry, I'm trying to. We've had some technical difficulties. I'm not going to lie; it's a little weird. Okay, something's going on. Yeah, this is weird. Anyway, what's up, everyone? Okay, we are good to go. Dude, I have an echo. Okay. There we go. What's up, everyone? Okay, so now we're good to go. Welcome to Built with Purpose. I'm Tyson with Copper Johns, and we have Tanner. Tanner is an amazing human being, and I can't wait for you guys. If you guys have ever seen us on Dad Bods and Beards, Tanner was probably in our first 50 episodes, and he is amazing. So what he does is he gets to know you on an individual basis. He gets to know who you are, what makes you tick. He just really dives deep into your psyche, so to speak. And because of that, he then has a test for you, and he has a couple other things for you to really teach us about ourselves. And then he kind of dresses us, and I'll let him kind of dive deep into it, but he helps us become the best version of ourselves when it comes to clothing, and makes us give us the most confidence. So with that being said, I'm going to kind of give you some guidelines that we kind of do. So today's guest has a spotlight. I'm going to give him all the spotlight, give him all the focus, and he's going to be sharing experiences, knowledge. You're probably not going to hear me a lot or greet any of you guys individually, but just know that I love you guys and I appreciate you for being here. Secondly, I am going to be paying attention to questions. So please put a Q there if you have any questions, because there's going to be some cool things that you might want to ask, and he is here to help you, and it doesn't happen very often. And then third, for those who show up a tad later, just let them know that, hey, Tyson's not going to be talking to you guys exclusively, because he's really going to be focusing on Tanner and making sure he is being heard. And so please talk, connect, encourage each other, and be part of the conversation, because if the community grows, you guys know that, and you're the reason why we're here. And I really appreciate this. I appreciate you guys, love you guys. As you guys know, this space exists because of you, and so that we can learn, we can feel, we can apply something real into our lives. The goal for Copper Johns, the goal for me, is growth, not perfection. So we will have Q&A at the end, no matter what. So anyway, with that being said, we're gonna add Tanner. What is up, Tanner?
Tyson, what's up, buddy?
Well, so just to start, I had I don't know how we were having a monster echo, but we're good now.
Okay,
And
good.
why don't you introduce yourself to kind of tell everyone who you are, and the floor is yours.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hey guys, my name's Tanner Guzzi. I am an appearance strategist, which I know that is something that most of you had never heard of. But what I get to do is work with guys like Tyson, which is what we're going to do tonight live a little bit, which is going to be fun. I have a pretty robust coaching service, and we're just going to go through one section of this. The job is to help you guys develop something that I call extegrity, which is essentially we want who you are on the outside to accurately reflect who you are on the inside. We want congruence between those two. And sadly, most men today, what they do is they will hide who they are. They'll just kind of play it safe. They'll downplay things for fear of lying. And this is valid because most of us, in fact, you guys may have tried this where maybe you tried out a style that was a little something different. Maybe a wife or a mom or a girlfriend tried to dress you. And it didn't matter if it looked good, if it felt like you were lying, you didn't keep wearing it. And so
100%.
right? You
100%.
right? Doesn't matter. You can get all the compliments, you can get all the praise, but if you feel like you're a liar or a fake in it, you're not going to wear it, right?
Yeah. And so that's why I'm a little nervous, because I gave you all these pictures. You've got to know me well. I've taken the test, all this stuff that you're about to show us, and I gave you these pictures. I'm like, dude, but I don't have the body for this. So I'm kind of interested in what's going to happen.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through this, and I'm going to help Tyson actually come up with his own version of a style based on some of the stuff that he's put together for me. And like you just said straight out, part of this wouldn't work directly because you don't have the body for it. Part of it won't work directly because it doesn't work in your industry, or the fact that we live here in Utah versus being in Europe or in New York or LA or something else like that. There's all these different reasons why some things do or don't work. And so the first thing that I want to walk through with you, Tyson, is the concept of sartorial synonyms. Have we talked about this in our private conversations before?
I've never heard that word before in my
Okay,
life.
perfect. Okay, so sartorial really is just a word that relates to clothing. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so when we think of synonyms, we think of words that are two different words, but they mean roughly the same thing, right? So you've got like car and automobile, or pants and trousers, or whatever else, right? And in some contexts, one word is more appropriate, and some the other one is more appropriate. But in large part, they mean the same thing. Tracking so far?
Yes.
Okay, so clothing works in the same way. Clothing is a visual tool of communication, and it says things about us. So I'll give you an example that I always use with my clients. I love George Washington. I love everything about the man, what he stood for, what he represented, all of these other things. And part of what I loved about him was the way that he dressed, because I see this stuff and I see things like credibility, self-respect, dignity, authority, mastery, all of these other things, right?
Yes.
I'm not going to dress like George Washington. It's a costume. If I were to try to put this on.
You'd pull it off, though.
I don't know. I could not pull it off. I could not. Right. And this is one of the things that, a lot of times people will say, it doesn't matter what you wear as long as you wear it with confidence. And it's like, okay, put on a toga or samurai armor or a pink gorilla suit or a Snuggie, and then think that it's devoid of any meaning or any context. And then if you just have the gravitas, you can wear it, you can't, because clothing is a method of communication. Okay. And so what the job is to find out what that clothing means, what the definition of that clothing is, why I like it. So with that stuff from Washington, credibility, self-respect, dignity, authority, mastery. And what does that look like in 2026 in suburban Utah for me working with clients, or at my daughter's soccer game, or, coaching my son's jiu-jitsu class? For you, it may be when you're on stage or when you're meeting with clients or whatever else. So how do we take the things that we want your clothing to communicate and speak the visual language that's actually going to be appropriate for you in your own life? Tracking so far?
Oh yeah, I absolutely. I want to feel. I've bought a couple of pair of shirts because I don't have shirts, and I want to wear shirts, but at the same time I'm like, what I picked I didn't necessarily like, but yeah, for when we're doing Middle Age Mayhem, when we're at the depot, I wanted to wear something that's like, oh, this is nice. He fits on stage and stuff, and it was okay, but I was a little disappointed when I saw the pictures and stuff. So yeah, I'm interested.
Okay, good. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through these photos, and two things. First of all, this may feel like an interrogation when I ask you to tell me what you like about it. It's not.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get to the core of what it is that this actually speaks to you. And the second thing is even though we're live, even though we've got people that are on with us, the guys that are represented in these photos, they're not going to hear anything that we're saying. And in a lot of cases, they're just wearing stuff that was put on them by a stylist or by a company anyway. So don't worry about hurting anybody if you say the negative things about this. The more honest you can be with me about this stuff, the more progress we're going to make. Make sense?
Okay, deal.
So what we're going to do is we're going to dissect quite a few of these things. Then when we get an idea of what that looks like, then I'm going to help you turn around and create this sartorial synonym, or I'm going to help you create a style that actually does work for you based on your build, your context, and all these other variables. And that's going to give us a good idea of what kind of stuff you'd actually be wearing. Cool?
I love it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's start here. These are the first two that you sent me. Tell me what you enjoy about this guy's style.
I love the suit, I love the tie, and I love the socks and shoes.
Why?
Like, they stand out. The socks and shoes stand out. I love, me and my shoes. I love my shoes. I love my socks. They're stylish and they're legit. Like, that's all I can say. And the suit, it's professional. It looks good. It fits him well, and it kind of lets everyone know that he's there, if that makes sense.
Okay. So couple things that I'm hearing so far are professional. Okay, we've got like positive attention as opposed to disappearing, right?
Yeah.
And then we can say, I think unique is probably another good summary of some of the stuff that was in there, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Okay. Is this the kind of thing that you're going to wear on stage or wear on a daily basis?
No, but I would like to wear it once or twice a week, something like that. Not necessarily that every week, but something like that. There's days where I'm like, dude, I wish I looked good. Like I could see myself wearing that on stage possibly. Like
You
if
could
I
do
was to
trousers
do
and a sport coat.
yeah, if I was doing my own Netflix special, perhaps.
Okay.
Perhaps. It depends on what I'm talking about.
Okay. And tell me why. What is it about wearing something that's more dressed up than what most of your contemporaries would be wearing that's appealing to you?
Um when I wear a suit, it gives me a level of confidence. Like it gives me a different mindset.
Ooh, okay. Tell me more
Like
about that.
like if you're, let's say you're wearing pajamas outside, or you're going to Walmart or Target, wherever you go, and you're wearing pajamas or sweats, you're just there. No, you're just trying to hide. You're just getting things done. But and you conduct yourself in a way where it's just like you could be immature, all this. But if you're wearing a suit, you're mature. You're there. You have intent. And you have a purpose.
Ooh, I like that. Okay. So maturity, intent, and purpose, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay, that's great. Because what's cool about all of these things, whether it's positive attention, stuff that's unique, stuff that instills confidence, stuff that it communicates maturity or intent or purpose, dude, we can do this with your gym clothes. We can do this in your lounge around on Sunday clothes, and we can certainly do this all the way up into suiting. It just depends on how we execute on it. But those types of definitions or those types of emotions or things that you want to feel and express to other people are not limited just to suiting. Make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Same thing here, I assume, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Not necessarily a huge vest guy, but I like the color. I like the tie color, and so yeah, it's kind of the same thing. I'm not a huge vest guy though.
Why not?
Maybe it's too much for me.
Feels too formal.
Also, I am losing weight, but it still might push out my stomach and kind of form fit it.
Gotcha. So you feel
I'm
more
being
self.
way vulnerable, and I'm being way vulnerable with all these here.
No, I
So,
appreciate it. Like I said, more honesty better. Yeah. So you'll feel self conscious in it because of how it shows the physique, right?
100% I will.
Okay. Okay. Let's move on to some of these then. These that are a little bit more dressed down. Tell me about this one.
Um, That is something like you would go to a snow basin in the evening on a concert type of vibe. And I'm like, I would be
Okay.
comfortable in that. I'd feel like it fit in. And like I would, I don't know, maybe something like when you go to the X room or something. Like I could wear that and like, okay, I'm not too dressed up, but I'm not too dressed down, and I just kind of fit.
That doesn't
It's a
feel like
vibe.
it gets too crazy for you.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. And then the beard won't cover it up as much and all that. So
Okay. What about this guy here?
um I like the I see, I don't think I could pull it off. Um, but I the scarf is cool, the
Mhm.
jacket up, and I love the Boston Scully. I've tried
Cool.
those in the past, and I have a couple, and I don't know if I pull it off very well.
Okay. So anything other than a ball cap is really hard to do without it feeling like a costume. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. What is it about the Scully or the newsboy cap that you like? What is it that communicates that really resonates for you?
Um, I really like the 1910, 1920s, like 1930s, like, pre pre depression. I like that look. I like,
Why?
if you think about it, if you go is it called Peaky Blinders?
Uh-huh.
Freak. I love that look, man. I love that
Why?
look. But see,
Why?
uh um if I could wear something like that every day, I would. Like,
Why?
but see, I don't have that body type. I don't know. It's just like it's like tough, professional, and unique.
Unique. Okay. What about I feel like part of what comes across with stuff like this, because This was a little bit more either like blue collar or kind of like in the countryside. There's a little bit more of like a physical masculinity to that. Does that resonate, especially from the Peaky Blinders?
Yeah. So man, guys, you guys are learning a lot about me right now. I have never gotten in a fight. I have never, but it's because I am bigger than everyone and I use it
Yeah, I don't want
to
to fight you.
my no, but that's what I mean is I use like I was Carrie Underwood's bodyguard. I was Hunter Hayes' bodyguard. I was Rob Zombie's bodyguard when they're in Utah
I didn't
because
know
I
this.
just hold myself bigger. That's just like I when I was in Oliver, that's the reason why I grew my beard in the first place. They had to teach me how to be mean because I've only ever just used my physical stature, so to speak, to just kind of intimidate almost. And
Got it.
so it's just like that's what I mean is I love that look because I feel like I wouldn't have to do anything. It's just who I am.
Okay, that makes sense.
And yeah.
Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah,
Okay,
JV
so I
says
want to,
sophisticated tough. I like
yeah,
that.
right. And that's, you think about it, like, I think that balance between those two things is stuff that a lot of men would really resonate with. It's kind of like, you know, I have one friend, Josh, who calls it like the savage bar or it's a gentleman barbarian, you know, or like savage
Mhm.
gentleman or other things where it's the duality of being able to be, you know, dignified and composed and in control, but also still very capable and retaining a lot of those like more assertive or aggressive masculine attributes.
You know who pulls it off really well to me
Tell me.
is the actor who plays Venom. He was in Peaky Blinders too,
Oh,
but
Tom
he was
Hardy.
in
Yeah.
Venom. Tom Hardy, dude, that guy
Yeah.
pulls it off perfectly
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. And he does a great job with it.
Right?
Yep. Okay. What about these that are a little bit more into, so these lean a little bit more into the rugged territory where we're getting into denim and like chore coats and like barber jackets and
Now
stuff
that I
like.
look at it, I don't like them.
Oh,
I
okay.
must have
Fair.
liked them at the time, but I'm not a huge fan of those anymore.
Okay. So a lot of, okay. What about this one with Reynolds where we're in more of like the casual stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like everything. I like how tight it is and it's form fitting. Because all I've ever done is wear big. And
Okay.
now that I'm starting to get, I mean, I'm still going to be big. I'm
Mhm.
always going to be big, but you see me, I'm getting my stomach shrinking
Dude, you're making great
and,
progress.
I appreciate it, man. But it's just, and I'll keep going. But, yeah, like if I could pull something like that off, I'd feel very confident too.
Okay. Okay, so this is one of the things that we want to be cognizant of. I'll use this as a good example for you and for the audience in two different ways that we can think about this. So the first one is that how slim something is always going to be relative to what your build is, right?
And I'll never be able to wear slim pants. Like for me, I have to wear like let's say my waist size is 36, I'll have to wear like size 42
Right,
because my legs and butt are so big.
right. Now the other
Because
thing that
nothing fits my legs.
right. And the other thing that needs to be factored in with that is that a lot of this slim stuff that if we go back and we look at this stuff, this is very like 2010s coded. And this is the kind of stuff that you don't need to go into because you're not 18. We don't need to put you into really overly baggy stuff like the Gen Z guys are wearing. But the hyper
Mhm.
skin stuff is not stuff that would even be appropriate for you, even if you were built like Reynolds at this point, because it's going to read like you peaked 10 years ago and you're unaware of how things have changed.
Kind of like what I am right now with all my flannel.
And it's hard because this is one of these things. A lot of guys have a tendency to almost kind of like chafe against this because, you know, you don't want to be aware of trends. You don't want to be like hyper focused on that. And I totally agree. But we go back to like Washington, and this was a quote from Jefferson, but he said, you know, in matters of principle, stand firm like a rock, but in matters of fashion, swim with the current. Okay.
Mm.
Because what it communicates is some level of social awareness or some level of just kind of like currency within whatever the culture is. So I want you to think about
Why would that
clothing.
be important for anyone who's listening? Why is that important?
Okay, well, think about it. Unless you're a sociopath and you clearly don't care what anybody thinks about you, or you're a hermit and you're totally isolated from the rest of the world around you, then there are certain people in your life that you want to be able to have smoother and better relationships with. Maybe it's people that you work with and you want to be able to generate more money for you, for them, for both. Maybe it's people that you want to have more influence over because you're a dad or a husband or whatever else. And so being aware of how things shift and change allows you to maintain social currency, and that allows you to be able to both give and get the results that you want out of your relationships with people around you that matter. Does that make sense?
Okay. 100%. I love that
Right.
answer.
Right. And you think about it, it's kind of like, okay, you and I have kids in our teens, and we don't necessarily have to use the same slang that they do, but we need to know what that slang means. Make sense?
Yeah. Some of it's so stupid.
Some of it is really stupid, but the stuff that you and I used when we were their age is stuff that our parents thought was stupid and now has made it into the general lexicon. And the stuff that was like really trendy, or you take anything that's even not necessarily like slang, but maybe it's term specific, like you talk about, I've got my CRM so I can track my clients, or we're going to hit these KPIs for our company this quarter or whatever. Like if you don't know what these terms mean, then you're lost in the dust. And these terms are used as a way to facilitate relationships, to make things smoother, to make things better, to understand who's in group and who's out of the group and stuff like that. And clothing does all of those same things. It's designed to deepen existing relationships, to introduce other people, or to ostracize other people, just like all of our spoken and written language does as well.
That's awesome.
Okay. So we need to factor in all of those elements when it comes to your style. And so when we go back to looking at something like this, I wouldn't recommend the fit. I would absolutely recommend the colors, the materials.
I love the colors.
The textures. All of this would be fantastic on you, but I would do a fit that wasn't quite so slim because one, you're bigger and it's not going to be as flattering on you. And two, it's because this is an old photo from like 2017, 2018, and it's going to read as if you peaked back then and aren't aware of how things have changed.
Okay.
Make sense?
That's fair.
Cool. Okay. All right. Tell me about this one with Jeremy Irons. This is so out there. Tell me what resonates about this one with you.
He looks like Peter Pan. It's something that I normally would never wear, but at first I like it because it's just so unique, and I like the shirt. Dude, I have only ever just done this top button up because with my beard, it gets caught in the collar and all this kind of stuff, and so I've never just let it go down. And so I like how it goes down. I like the vest on this one. I think this vest, like, it doesn't go all the way up here, it, like, goes down a little bit, and I like the color. I like the color a lot.
Okay. How about this one here?
Same. I think I'm into. I didn't realize I love that kind of look, but I really do.
Okay, this is great. Okay, how about Mads down here? This again is something that's a little bit more casual and becomes a little bit more wearable territory than some of this other stuff.
So this to me is something I could wear on a date night. This is something that I could even wear to work. Where that it's more of a like this is something I would wear day to day. And be very, very comfortable and very confident in.
Okay. Yeah. And I think for you, honestly, Tyson, what we're looking for is stuff that is more this way because, yes, it feels great to dress up when it's time to dress up, but your reasons for that aren't as frequent as your reasons to just be in the kind of stuff that you're in right now. And so what we want to do, obviously, we want to elevate all of it, but we want to specifically be able to elevate the kind of stuff that you wear when you're on camera, when you're on stage, when you're at networking events, when you're doing dinners like we did with Brock and Ben Care the other night and stuff like that. Like this is the kind of stuff that we don't necessarily do suiting to, but we can still do stuff that has this intent, this purpose, this dignity, this gravitas. It's unique. It's all of these things, these attributes that you're liking about these things, but we just execute on it in a way that's a little bit more casual and a little bit more different.
Okay, so this is embarrassing.
Don't just go.
No, it's just because all these guys. Because I don't like to talk about myself. Dude, I'm starting to build muscle, and like it's starting to show, like my shoulders and stuff like that. Like, I kind of want to show them off too a little.
Yeah. Okay.
So my wife really likes it, and I'm like, hey, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I used to not walk with my shirt off walk with my shirt off at home, and now I do.
Hmm.
And because she likes it. And so I'm like, yeah, that would be kind of fun to be able to pull something off that is not necessarily form fitting around the stomach, but it will get there. But it's more just makes you look good.
Okay. There's some simple fit principles related to that I'll teach you, and this will be helpful for the guys too. Um, that even how, dude, I don't think I've ever seen you just in a t-shirt. How often are you in a t-shirt?
Just working out.
Okay. Okay. So let me show you this. Okay.
It's not that I don't want to. It's just that I never find shirts that I'm comfortable in.
Okay. So let me show you this. This is a really good example of kind of like the 3 different ways that you can wear a t-shirt. So the first one over here
Yeah, I
is
can
way
do
too
that.
tight, right?
Uh-huh. You can see
Yeah.
his nipples.
Yeah. And even though this is my friend Jack, who is Jack, still doesn't look good on him. So the way that this works is this is tight everywhere. It's tight in the chest, the
Mhm.
shoulders, the stomach. It's short. The sleeves are capped. It's all of it. Okay. On the other side, whoops. On the other side, hold on. We've got him in one that's a little bit too big. Now this is still in doable territory, but notice that it doesn't really hug his arms. You don't see any of the chest definition. You don't see his traps or anything else like that. It's just a little bit more
Yeah.
shapeless. Makes sense? And then
Mhm.
ideally what we want is something that's kind of like this in the middle where it fits snug in the chest, the shoulders, and the sleeves, but there's still room in the waist and down in the seat. So basically through the stomach area and across the hips. Okay.
Yeah. No,
So
that's yeah.
with where you're going with your physique, this is the ideal of what you're after because now you have more of the chest and the traps and the shoulders to be able to fill stuff out. And so we can embrace stuff that is a little bit more like this while still having room down through the waist and the seat. So it doesn't just look like saran wrapped on you.
Which is most shirts right now.
Okay, I want to go back to what we were looking at before because I'm starting to get a good idea of some things in here. Let me ask you about. Tell me about this one.
Same thing. An everyday thing. I love that color. I tend not to wear lighter colors due to the fact because the beard with transparency, but I'm starting to go shorter and shorter, so I don't have the transparency, and so I feel like I just like that look. Like I don't know. I just like it. That's the
Okay.
most I can think of. Is it seems a little more sophisticated than what I would normally wear. Not on purpose, more just like I don't know if I can pull it off type of thing.
Okay. You could absolutely pull this off. I think I can explain why this resonates for you. So let's talk through it and then tell me if this clicks. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So first of all, this isn't formal. He's basically got a gray sweatshirt on with a very casual like field shirt or a field jacket over it. So this is like
Mhm.
military heritage over gym wear, over denim. None of this is formal. You could wear this right now and this would be totally appropriate. Okay. But what makes it look so good is a few different things. First one is it's all natural materials. One of the biggest mistakes that a lot of modern guys make is we wear anything that has stretch in it. It's all these synthetics and it has nylon and it has elastic and all of that. And we think it makes things more comfortable, but the problem is it makes the cloth, it's like a rubber band. It clings to us rather than where on this guy it drapes and it falls naturally rather than just being again totally saran wrapped on him. Okay. And so he's got really good drape and really good movement that happens here. Another thing that's really subtle that most guys don't pick up on is that also with those natural materials, it creates really good texture. And that's what makes this look more elevated, even though it's more casual, is you can almost like feel the softness of the sweatshirt or of the
Oh,
jacket,
100%.
things, right? And this would
Yeah.
look entirely different if it were something that were just made out of plastic. It's not going to have that same vibe to it. And so we've got the casual nature, we've got it rooted in more rugged kind of like workwear and athletic components. And then we've also got the texture and the personality that comes into it because of the texture. And we combine all of those things, it makes for something that's subtle, but it still looks good and it still is unique without necessarily being desperate for attention.
Great. Can I ask you a question about this?
Please.
So you talk to me all the time saying I wear too big of clothes. And I
Mm-hmm.
get it. I really do. Like you can see right now, like this is folding over and stuff like that. Like I get that. But with that being said, what's the difference between like me wearing 3, 4, 5X when I need to wear a double or a single XL compared to something like that that's overly big? Like,
Yes.
what's the difference?
Okay, I love that you're asking me this. Let me pull up another photo that I can give you some good examples.
And then Kenny has a question, and I will ask that. It's not a question; he has a statement, but I think it's pertinent to many people.
Okay. Yeah, tell him to hit it while I get this image pulled up.
Oh, he said, "I wish I had more clothing choices. I wear what I can find in my size."
Yes. Okay, and that's a legitimate thing. One of the best things that you guys can do for that is expand your Rolodex as far as like different brands that you can find, because if you're just shopping for like known brands that have a physical store where you are, the problem with a lot of these places is that they have to cater to everybody in a geographic area rather than being able to specifically cater to somebody in a demographic. So for example, there are brands like American Tall that cater to guys that are 6'3" and above, or brands like Peter Manning and Ashen Airy that cater specifically to guys that are 5'9" and under. And so there are all these different brands that if you know where to look online, and honestly, like this is the kind of stuff that you can ask ChatGPT for help on. But these kinds of brands, then all of a sudden you're not as limited to it's like big and tall or whatever else. You can find stuff that fits you in really good
And
regards.
Kenny, if you have more questions, if you have more questions, you can always hit Tanner up on Instagram, and he'll be more than willing to work with you and talk with you.
Okay, so I'm going to pull this up here. I want you to look at, I did a video actually on this on Instagram the other day, so I want you to look at this, okay? Notice with this guy here that what we're seeing is his stuff is relatively loose on him, and he's a bigger guy, right? Yeah. But why it still looks good from a proportion perspective is because of the lengths on things. Notice that his pants aren't 6 inches too long and are totally dragging on him. Notice that shirt is cropped a little bit shorter, and notice that he's wearing his pants a little bit higher, and that t-shirt is tucked in, so the visual proportions change on it. And so when I say that most of the stuff that you wear is too big for you, I don't necessarily mean that it's too wide, but I mean that when it comes to lengths, that it's too long, and that's where stuff starts to look sloppy and baggy as opposed to looking appropriately drapey or properly sized for you and your build.
Fair. I get that.
Make sense?
It does. Thank you for answering that.
Yeah. And this is where a lot of times for guys that have your build, it's either finding the right brands, paying the tailor tax, which is what we call it, where you just have to take stuff into the tailor and get it altered, or it's getting stuff custom made for you and being able to play with stuff that way so that you can get stuff made just right out of the gate. And obviously there are different trade-offs in effort and expense and all of that stuff that comes with it, but those are the different variables that you can play with when it comes to it.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, let's go back to, I want to look at, there was one here. There's a couple here, but I want to hit specifically on this one. What spoke to you about this one?
If I could pull it off, I love it. I love the color. I love the yellow. And I've worn yellow before, and I'm like, I feel like I look good in it. But I like that look. It's with his glasses, with his beard, all that. It fits very well, and I like that.
Cool. Okay, I want to play off of this a little bit because I think we're starting to hit on something that would work for you. I want to pull up another photo. Let's go here. Does this resonate?
Oh, yeah. I love that.
Okay. I figured that was the case. What about if we go down to, and guys, this is what's so fun about this process is that as we ask more questions and we get more and more context, then it becomes easier and easier for me to pick up on what's actually going to resonate for Tyson or for any of you other guys. Okay, how about this? Is this pushing it too much, or does this still feel doable?
It's the pants. I couldn't wear my pants up to my nipples. Uh, but I like the color, I like the look. It's just I could not wear my pants that high. It's just I don't know what it is. I just can't. My
That's
kids
fair.
would probably like me because I wouldn't have plumbers 24/7.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and
Well, and it is more
maybe I
flattering.
could
I'll
wear them
tell
a
you,
little.
anybody that's rocking belly, it looks better if it's worn up that high, but I would never talk you into it because we have to wear it based on how you're going to wear it rather than my trying to
Uh-huh.
force you into something. Okay.
I feel like
Okay.
when I wear
So
pants up
Tyson,
high like that, I'm giving myself a wedgie.
well, that usually means that the rise isn't long enough and that they were made to be worn lower. Whereas if they're made to be worn higher, then they'll fit comfortably. Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. I
Okay.
hear you.
Okay. So I want to hit on these three images and I want to talk about a couple different things that this is how it relates to you. And this, dude, this is fun for you because I normally wouldn't recommend going bold on colors for guys because it's a lever that's really too easily pulled. But for you, because you are so big, because you have the beard, because you know how to carry yourself in an intimidating way, and because you are so jovial and fun, if we introduce elements of more of this like friendliness and playfulness and fun into your style, then it actually creates a really good balance for you. And so most of the time I wouldn't recommend colors like this, but I would for you. But the thing that I want you to pay attention to here is, again, notice the texture. Do you see that, like how thick that wool is? It's that like boiled wool. Or notice that the shirt that he has on is a denim shirt. Or even like if you look at that ball cap, it's not your nylon breathable modern ball cap. This is a vintage wool, or you could do like a traditional cotton or those types of things. And then notice even little things like he's got the collar popped, or that these are traditional pieces. Like this is a chore coat and this is a denim work shirt as opposed to a dress shirt and stuff like that. And then same thing if we go back here, as we let it load. Okay, notice again texture, but this time it's corduroy. Or notice like the texture in the turtleneck. And these are traditional workwear pieces. This is another type of chore coat, or like the turtleneck has that has all of that good like knit texture to it and stuff like that. Or notice that like he's got cord trousers on here, but you could do this with good denim. You could do this with flannel or those types of things. And then same thing, even as we come back to this one, notice again, a lot of texture, and it's rooted in traditional pieces that were originally like workwear pieces.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Isn't that cool? Okay.
Yeah, so it's
So this,
almost like it's pretty easy to get all this kind of stuff. I just have to find the right size and fit and all that.
yeah, which is fun because this is the kind of stuff where, you know, if you guys are listening, this is the kind of stuff that I can do with you. Tyson, obviously you and I can do this together and I can help you out with this. But I think that this starts to move us in a pretty good direction of recognizing that if we go with stuff that has really good texture, stuff that drapes and fits well, stuff that's made from natural materials as opposed to synthetics, stuff that is rooted in traditional workwear or military heritage, and then introducing elements that have color, but we're not getting into like full cartoon clown territory. We're doing maybe like one statement thing and everything else is rooted in more dark colors and things like that. And all of a sudden this becomes very,
Do you
very
still wear
doable.
something like that in the spring and the summer, or is
Oh,
this just
totally.
a fall winter style?
No, we absolutely do this in the spring and the summer. We just focus on things like linen or seersucker or tropical weight wool or things like that that still have good texture to
What?
them.
I don't even know it's serious. I've never heard of that. That's cool.
Think of like the stereotypical Southern gentleman that has like the striped suit that's white and candy blue striped.
Oh yeah.
That's seersucker, but we do it in like a dark color instead, so that it still has some of that like gravity to it. But these are the kinds of things that when we start to put this together, it fully fleshes out who you are, and we get it's professional, it gets positive attention, it's unique, it evokes confidence, it has maturity, it has intent, it has purpose. All of these things that you loved about all of the suiting that we were looking at before, we can do this in stuff that's more casual. We can do this in stuff that's more appropriate for what your build is for the decade that we're in, and play with everything else beyond that.
That's cool.
Fun, huh?
Okay.
Okay. So that would be one. Think about it this way. Okay. When I do this with my guys, that's like the outer ring of the target. And then Tyson, what you and I do and should do And we'll do this, in person, but then we go a little bit tighter. And then when we talk about like your tribes and all the different signals that you want to send and how people interact with that. And then the last one is more when we focus on like the balance between your archetypes and then also what this taste stuff is. And then when we get that is when we really get the bullseye. But for you guys that are listening, I hope that this is helpful and it helps you start to see that a lot of times we can start with something that we may like, but we can't quite pull off. But if we can determine why we like it, then it can help us get to the point where we figure out how to pull it off by recognizing all these different levers that we can pull. In fact, I'll show you guys this. I normally just show this to people when I'm working with them, but I'll show this to you guys right now. I want you to think about your style as like a soundboard, okay? And just like when you're at a concert, Tyson, when you're bouncing,
you're going to have to go up a little higher. We can't see. Here, there you go. That's it. Now we can see him.
So I want you to think of like a soundboard that has all of these different dials on it that you can pull, like treble or gain or distortion or all this other stuff. Okay. And depending on the sound that you want, depending on, if you're going to a punk show, it's very different than when you're going to see Carrie Underwood or when you're going to see Sabrina Carpenter or whoever else, right? And so the sound engineer is going to tweak those dials in order to create the desired effect. This is the same thing that you guys can do with your style, whether it's fit or color variation or color intensity or pattern or texture or conformity or formality, or there's all these little things that you can tweak in order to actually be able to create the style that you want. And then what's fun is when you learn where you want those, you don't have to adjust them all the time. You know what they are, and then it becomes really effortless and really authentic to just get dressed every day because you put in a little work ahead of time to actually cultivate a style that's going to be your own.
Awesome. Just so you guys are listening, please feel free to ask a question as we're we still have 15 minutes left, but please, if you have any questions for him, let me know. And then you want to get into a little bit of the archetypes, or do you still have some more stuff for me and you together?
No, we can talk archetypes, especially while the guys are starting to put questions together. Yeah. Okay.
So it's just I know I've taken it and I'm kind of a mix, which is crazy because now that you see the colors and what I'm into, what am I? Now that you see that,
is this good
refined?
This is a rakish refined blend.
That's what I was,
and that doesn't surprise me, right? Yeah,
because it still demands a spotlight, but also it's more refined and all that.
Yep.
So
yep.
That's cool. So yeah, if you want to tell them all that, I think that's really cool, and maybe how they could find out what they are.
Absolutely. Okay, so yeah, you guys, one of the key things to understand about style is it starts internally with who you are, rather than being dictated by me or by a YouTuber or by a magazine or something else. It has to start with your core identity. It's like we talked about at the beginning. And one of the best ways to understand how your style relates to your identity is to understand that there are 3 style archetypes. So you have rugged, refined, and rakish. And the way that these break out is rugged men are men who are at their best when they're engaged with the world physically. So think of like cowboys and lumberjacks and blue collar workers and bodybuilders and all this. Like if you are at your best when you're working with your hands and you're engaged with the physical world, you're primarily going to fall within that rugged archetype. Okay. Second one is refined. These are the guys who understand systems and hierarchies and order and status and all of these other things. And they thrive by playing by the rules. So these are the guys that kind of like climb the corporate ladder, or they're politicians, or they're other people that just really know how to play the game. And they're at their best when they're adhering to the rules of those hierarchies. And there are certain styles that best reflect that. And then the third one is rakish. And these are the guys that understand those systems and hierarchies just as well as the refined guys. But rather than thriving by following the rules, they thrive by breaking the rules. So these are like rock stars, iconoclasts, kind of like the trendsetters and all of this stuff. And these guys feel very claustrophobic when they're in stuff that doesn't feel like it reflects them as well. So like notice with Tyson, a lot of the stuff that we pulled was stuff that was unique. It was attention getting. It was that type of stuff where if somebody is primarily refined, they don't want to wear stuff that is unique or attention getting. They would rather stuff that feels more subtle, more put together, or stuff like that. And there's combinations of all 3 of them. Okay, you're going to have elements of all 3. So if you guys want to know which one is yours primarily, you can go to my site. It's masculine-style.com. And there's a big old green button right on the top there that'll take you to the archetype quiz. It's 7 questions, and you can take that quiz and it'll tell you which of the 3 archetypes is your primary one.
So let me hear you type it. Masculine dash what?
Style.
Style.com.
Yep.
All right. Wait, did I do it right? Can you see the chat?
Coming up. Yeah, looks right. Yep.
Perfect. So a question for you. Okay. I was 85, 87%. It was like 52% refined and then 30 something percent rackish. And then the other was what was the third one?
Rugged.
Outdoors? What? Rugged.
Rugged.
Why do I wear rugged? Why was that my go-to? And why is it still kind of? Because just kind of curious. Why do you think that is?
Okay, so I'm spitballing here just based on what I know of you and kind of what I know of our culture and stuff like that. Okay. But for the most part, when we have guys who are bigger guys, and that's one of the more noticeable things about them, it feels a lot more congruent to associate that size with physical masculinity and that physicality. So if we try to put you in suits or in stuff that's more refined all the time, then your size becomes almost a contradiction of it. Whereas if we put you in stuff that lends to being more naturally rugged, then it's going to feel more like it's an advantage to be as big as you are.
Dude, that's it. It's 100% what I feel.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
so
good. I can put it into words. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's like it's just kind of like my beard. It's kind of a protector.
Yep, totally.
That's how, yeah, I like that. Dude, that's really good. All right, everyone. I don't know if you guys have any questions for Tanner, but please feel free to. I will tell you this. So, Vinny is a strong man. I keep making fun of him because I'm like he's 4'9". He's really not, but he's just a tiny guy. He's like 5'6", 5'7". He weighs about 260. He's a real strong man, and he can lift a truck. I mean, he's huge. He goes, all my black 3X oversized pump covers, sweat shorts, and Vans speak to my soul, dark and comfort. So what do you say to someone like that?
Okay. So, Vinny, the first thing that I would ask is how much of it is physical comfort and how much of it is psychological comfort? Because a lot of times when men say that all we care about is being comfortable, what we're really saying is that we just care about being psychologically comfortable, or at least that's a big part of it. Because I actually guarantee you that if physical comfort were the only thing that mattered, you would actually be wearing stuff. Oh, I don't have it. Dude, you'd be in a Snuggie. You'd be in a Snuggie. That's more comfortable than your Vans or in any of your gym shorts or anything else like that, right? And so it's psychological.
It says psychologically comfortable.
Okay, so here's what I would challenge you to do. And this is almost always a challenge. I've worked with some big names in the fitness industry. In fact, there's one guy who his brother runs a massive podcast. And I'll tell you the story about this guy. They've done strongman documentaries about him and stuff like that. And he told me a couple of years ago when I was down training with him that he wasn't going to go to his friend's wedding in Italy because he couldn't wear shorts to the wedding, and he didn't want to go because he felt too uncomfortable if he wasn't in his gym shorts, right? And so what most of us do as men is, in fact, I make the argument that we as men care about our clothing more than women do, but we don't care about it from a trend perspective. We care about it from an identity infusion perspective. And so put on our identity when we put on our clothes. Now, Vinny, this is more challenging for you because your build is such that it's harder to find stuff that's going to fit you well outside the gym clothes. And this is where custom would be your friend for sure. But what I would encourage you to do is find components of your identity that are more than just the strongman. We don't abandon the strongman. We don't let that go, but we expand to being more than that and being multidimensional beyond that. And then find ways to introduce or inject elements of that part of your identity into your appearance. And so maybe it's starting with something small like shoes or accessories or something else. Maybe it's being able to find other things that work really well as far as fit or texture or material or stuff like that. But we got to get you so that you are psychologically comfortable being more than just a strong man.
So, question for you: someone like me who has 6 kids, a wife, mortgage, all this kind of stuff, or anyone who is on a budget, who
Yeah.
feels like they don't want to spend money on themselves, how do they build their wardrobe uh, to what? Like, dude, I would love to have those clothes that you showed. How do you build something like that? I get that it's one step at a time type of
Mhm.
fill, but um, like, how would you start and how would you complete it?
Okay. So the first thing I would recommend is you start with simple colors. Most guys make the mistake of thinking that good style has to involve bold patterns or really intense colors because that's what's different. But the problem with a lot of color is that it doesn't become versatile. Whereas if you focus on black, white, blue, brown, gray, the kind of neutral colors, all of those work with each other. And so you can have a jacket that you can wear 3 days in a row, 7 days in a row without anybody noticing because it's very versatile. Whereas if we're doing something like that orange one that we showed at the end, you can't repeat that too frequently because the color is so intense. Okay.
Yeah.
Second thing is focus on, again, on natural materials. And this is where things get hard, guys, because most cheap companies, okay, it used to be that if you shopped at Target or at Old Navy or at H&M or at Walmart or anywhere else, you could find stuff that was natural materials. And so it would look good. But now everything that they make is cheap plastic and all these synthetics.
So
And so
true.
it's thrifting and it's being able to put in some work for that. If you can think about it, there's trade-offs here. And if you have an abundance of money, then you can afford to spend money and save yourself time. If you're short on money, then you have to put a little bit more time into your style, which means being able to shop on thrift stores. It's being able to use stuff like eBay or Poshmark or some of these online retail like resellers and stuff like that to be able to find it. It's doable. It just requires a little bit more sleuthing and a little bit more effort from a time or an energy put in perspective instead of the money perspective.
So it's a fun date night because my wife would love that.
It kind of really is. And if you know what you're
Yeah.
looking for, half the reason most men hate shopping for clothing is because we're bad at it. Because I
Hmm.
guarantee you don't hate shopping for cars. You don't hate shopping for guns. You don't hate shopping for sports equipment. You like shopping for that stuff. You like researching it and figuring out what you're gonna get and how to, collect all this stuff because you understand it and it's enjoyable to do so. And so when you learn how to understand, maybe it doesn't become as big of a hobby as it is with some of your other stuff, but shopping starts being really fun and stops being miserable when you know that's like, no, I want a really good like denim Western shirt, and I'm going to try to find that at Goodwill or Savers or wherever else. Yeah.
You know what we should do? We should do some sort of vlog, and go shop for March 21st for the Middle Age Mayhem in Scottsdale,
That's a
and
fun
make a
idea.
vlog on what I'm going to wear. I think it would be fun.
Yeah.
All right, we do have a question, and we
Okay.
have 5 minutes left. He said, Joshua asked, "How do archetypes differentiate between someone's work type versus how they are off the clock? Example: a lumberjack who is more cerebral off the clock, or blue collar who is hands-on during their time or during their off time."
Yes. Okay. This is a great question. So you need to adapt what you're wearing depending on what you're doing, but there's still ways to be able to inject some of the archetype in it. So, for example, let's say that you are more rugged, but you work in a white collar environment. Okay, cool. Then what we do is we wear suits that have a little bit more texture to them. Maybe your ties have a little bit more texture to them. Maybe we're wearing like suede boots as opposed to calfskins. And even if you're in like loafers, you add in texture because of the suede or something else like that. So we can inject some elements of the rugged in there that way. Maybe you even do like a dress shirt that has the spread collar and the clean placket, so it looks like a dress shirt, but it's made out of denim or chambray as opposed to being like a really fine pinpoint, like a white cloth or something else like that. So there's ways that we can do this. More often than not, it's either sticking with like what the clothing is expected and changing what it's made out of or how it's made, or it's inverting that and going the other way.
So thank you for answering that. And IG Fitness Training says, "I love the rugged style the most, but I'm wealth advisor for my profession and have to wear suits all the time. I find that I wear rugged outside of work and refined while at work. Is that bad?"
No, no, it's not at all. And what's really fun is, again, you can be multidimensional you can find ways to embrace all of it, because I love being in a full 3-piece suit or getting the excuse to dress up in a tuxedo. And I love being able to get into some boots and like nasty denim and be able to feel comfortable in that. So the more multidimensional you are, the more you can embrace it. And the more skilled you are at being able to inject these things, the better you're able to do that. Dude, IG for you, man. Like this is one of the things. My dad was in your same industry, and you even run into a tricky thing of like, you can't be too flashy or attention getting with your style because it comes across as sleazy, but you can't be too downplayed because then it looks like you don't pay attention to details. And so there's all these little nuances that we can and should factor in so that you're communicating credibility, authority to your clients, like that you exist in the same circles, but you're not overcharging them and that type of stuff. That's what's so fun about this as a language, is that when you learn to speak it, then it becomes so powerful from a business perspective or a parenting or a dating perspective or anything else. Yeah.
All right, so we have 2 minutes left. I could, this, I could talk to you all day. So I want to say this one time, and then Tanner, I want you to finish. But Tanner is amazing. He works with some elite people. His time is valuable, and I'm so grateful for you to be here. It means a lot. Thank you for rescheduling to Monday and willing to work with me and all this. So I want to just see if they want to work with you at all, or if they want to get a hold of you, is the best way just on Instagram at Tanner Guzzi, or do they need to go somewhere else?
No, that's great. Yeah, it's at Tanner Guzzi. You can DM me on there, or you can honestly, you guys, I'll tell you, just send me an email. It's tanner@masculine-style.com and let me know. And what I'll do is, if you're interested, we'll jump on a 20-minute call. It's with me, and we'll basically just kind of talk about where you are, where you're trying to get, and how I can help you bridge the gap if I can. Yeah.
Awesome. And again, guys, Copper Johns, our mottos, be proud of who you are. And I really do believe Tanner brought it today. So thank you so much, Tanner. And please feel free to reach out to him. And if for some odd reason you forget all this, you can reach out to me and I'll give you his information. So appreciate it, Tanner. Guys, love you. Have a wonderful night.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Tyson.